Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
Who's your, I know he's pure evil but can't prove it, person? Lawyer here. About 50% of lawyers I go up against. 50%. I like those odds. It's just because he can prove it for the other 50%. I was in court recently attempting to defend my kids from my ex. His lawyer asked why, when my 11-year-old was repeatedly exposed to homemade porn, my ex and his girlfriend made that I didn't laugh it off. Evil, yes, but hopefully judge picked up that. My coworker, who is always extremely friendly but somehow every conversation leaves you feeling like you accidentally signed a contract. I had a coworker like this. He was very professional and friendly, but one day he let something slip randomly. He said that he was trying to get himself in a position where, when his parents died, he would be able to take all the inheritance and leave his siblings with nothing. IDK how the laws work where he is from. Then COVID happened, and we started working from home. I decided to go to a nearby town to visit a friend and bought some tickets. Later that day, this coworker sent me a text message with those exact ticket option with the words, lol. I asked him what it was about and he took a while to reply and said, I thought it was a good deal that you would be interested in. So I think maybe he sent it to me accidentally, or IDK what that even was. So I got my sister to clear everything on my computer, and then got it to do the same for my work computer. During COVID, we would take turns going to the office, and one day I realized I lost a mask that my dad's wife made me. Well, months later we were both at the office and he was using the mask. I asked him where he got the mask and he said he bought it. Impossible since my dad's wife made it. Soon after he quit, I was going through things on his former work computer and found that he was keeping a folder with a list of different employees' names. There was stuff about me on there, like keeping tabs on all of us. He tried getting together a couple times after he left the company. I eventually just blocked his number. To this day I think he was a sociopath. The mask, OMG. Trust your gut and don't let them get closer. And definitely don't make any fucking agreements with him. Mr. Beast. He's gone on a podcast and literally said he feels nothing anymore unless he sees his view count and shit going up. It was kinda sad to listen to, honestly. I don't recall which pod it was, but even the hosts were like, "Are you okay, Jimmy?" Quote. There will be a documentary one day about his rise and eventual fall. I've never been more convinced that we are watching the early stages of what will be our generation's elite billionaire that turns his brand into something as big, if not bigger, than Walmart, Facebook, or McDonald's. I'm also convinced there will be an insane trail of people he leaves behind with crazy stories. He genuinely seems like a Zuckerberg-type alien thing. He has dead eyes. His fake-looking smile just never quite reaches all the way up. Like a doll's eyes. Doesn't seem to be living at all until he bites you. Kenneth Copeland. Face of pure evil. Best description I've ever seen of the man was here on Reddit. Someone said he looked like the puppet from Saw made a wish to become a real boy. Nah, that's Laura Loomer. Geez, in my opinion there is indisputable proof that Copeland is evil. He might be a lot worse than of us ever imagined, for which there is no proof of that. But he's at least as bad as we all believe him to be, and there's no shortage of evidence to support it. His prosperity doctrine is obviously the opposite of what Jesus actually preached. He sells a religion founded by a socialist who told people to renounce wealth, but he's worth around $300 million and has a private jet. That's a demon's resume. There was a really put-together guy at work. Super nice, always on point, but everything was too on point. His outfits were always perfect. At first, we joked that he ironed his socks. Then it was that his closet was organized by color. It went on and on. One day, we had Corona promo girls at the pool. It's a hotel. He mentioned something about letting him know next time those girls were around. We were taken aback, because we always assumed he was gay based on his fashion choices. NBD either way, just a surprise. We then started joking that he had a secret sex dungeon behind his color-coded closet. It was Florida, so we couldn't say basement. Then, he tried to kidnap a front desk agent basically. He took her off property in his car, under the guise that they were going to the other side of the property. Driving to the other side was not uncommon because the property was huge, and required you to leave the property and re-enter at another gate. I've definitely ridden with others, so not exactly weird. Then he went the opposite direction. She asked where they were going, and he said it was because they needed to pick something up for work. She said she'd rather walk, and he just said it would only be a minute. She got out of the car at a stoplight and ran. He got fired. No one knows what he would have done to her if she didn't run. Maybe we were right. We'll never know. Good for her, shame he only got fired, though. Unless you mean out of a cannon. It's weird shit like that actually winds up in true crime murders. Not these celebrities people are saying are evil. Oh, we've proved it. They just won't prosecute him. I love how there's no name but everyone knows exactly who you're talking about. Well played. Ellen DeGeneres' humor against her guests reminded me a lot of how the girls in my middle school would bully me for being the weird kid. I've said this before, I felt like she was laughing at her guests, not with them. Especially that game show she had. It was just a publicly acceptable way to humiliate people. Yes, I absolutely agree about her game show. I thought it was funny at first, but the more I watched, the more it seemed like she was enjoying tormenting people. It started to feel mean. I'm not big on Taylor Swift, but the moment she begs Ellen to stop joking about the men she's dated and you can hear her voice crack as she tears up just makes me feel so bad for her in that moment. Also Ellen giving Mariah Carey champagne to out Mariah's pregnancy to the world before she was ready to announce it is evil. And the sad part is that pregnancy ended in a miscarriage. She made Aubrey Plaza do a shitty stripper pole dance with a recently injured knee. She's weird as hell. I used to work security at a casino. One night I was patrolling, rounded a bank of machines, and came face to face with a guy who immediately spiked my adrenaline and triggered my fight or flight reflex. There was something in his eyes that evoked pure terror. Other officers reported similar reactions. No idea who the guy was because I wasn't about to contact him unnecessarily, but he lingers in my mind as my mental image of sheer evil. Single quote. Sounds like Randall Flagg was scoping out Vegas before Captain Trips got released. I encountered someone like that when I worked in a bar. I met plenty of nasty, dangerous people, some of who I had to throw out. But this guy was something else. He was like a shark swimming past me. He was well behaved though. Yay, this guy didn't cause any problems while he was there. He had a group he was with that didn't seem all that off-put by him. Normal late night, early morning casino patron types. This always interests me. Two very different biographies, a former DA undercover agent and a Chicago mafia lawyer, said very similar things. They had both grown up in very tough backgrounds, gotten into serious fights. They could handle themselves pretty well. And both of them said that there were some individuals that somehow, when they just looked at him, or the individuals looked at him, struck absolute terror into them, a real fear for their life. Something way beyond the usual, mad dog, or whatever. And they both found out later that these guys were either hitmen or assassins. The authors came in without any preconceived ideas, and with rather tough backgrounds. But out of all the tough guys in the street or wherever that they had seen, these guys really affected them very deeply in a dark way. Apparently, people who have killed 5 or more people and liked it are just different somehow. And others can pick up on it. I met a lot of insurgents in Iraq. I spoke Arabic too, so I'd talk to detainees. A lot of the people who fought us were by their own moral frameworks good people doing what they thought was the right thing. Some of them, frankly, we could have been friends if it hadn't been for the whole, trying to kill me thing. Many, on the other hand, were just doing it purely for money. Financiers would pay out the equivalent of a farmer's yearly income to just plant some mortar rounds in a roadside. And a big chunk of insurgents were just sort of shitty dudes, greasy amoral guys who were basically in organized crime who would have been causing havoc even without the war. There was one guy that whole time, he was different. I'm a bigger guy, jumped out of airplanes, did Rideau stuff as a kid and was a bouncer through college. So I'm not particularly susceptible to intimidation. This guy set off alarm bells running up and down my central nervous system. This wasn't outside the wire, during a firefight. This was back at base. He was in restraints. He was getting a cursory, tactical questioning, to in-process him and I happened to be pulling security in the corner of the room. He had a perfectly neutral, relaxed body position, never raised his voice, wasn't breathing hard or making hard eyes at me. He should have been completely unthreatening. He just looked at the floor and answered questions pretty reasonably, given the context, like he was talking to a cop writing him a speeding ticket. And he made my blood crawl. I have no idea what it is, but he made me want to take the safety off of my rifle. I've dealt with bad people, people who parked cars full of explosives in marketplaces to kill the wrong kind of Muslims 70 or 80 at a time, men, women and children. I've dealt with criminals, smugglers, foreign fighters, bomb makers and people who tortured kidnappees. I've dealt with violent people with clear mental issues and I've dealt with religious extremists. I've given medical treatment to people who literally just tried to kill me. This was just a dude squatting on a floor, not bothering to look at me while he answered questions. A little bigger than most Iraqis. Balding, not imposing physically really, but he radiated danger in a way I've never seen in 5 deployments. No idea what happened after we turned him over to Iraqi custody. But that dude felt like a monster. I feel like this is describing a vibe you get from the mask that sociopaths and serial killers learn to wear in public. It's probably an uncanny valley kind of thing, except in this case, the thing it's hiding is horrifying. Joel Osteen. I said it before on a comment about Kenneth Copeland, but it's worth saying it again. Being a televangelist is all the evidence you need to prove someone's evil. There are no good ones. They're all corrupt and they're all exploiting people's faith for personal enrichment. Osteen is definitely no exception. His church's response during Hurricane Harvey was decently criticized. Maybe not pure evil, but it's in addition to the hypocrisy of multimillionaire pastors. He sucks. A multimillionaire pastor is by definition evil. He's actively harming society by flying a private jet and hoarding wealth. He's the antithesis of Christ.